Good morning, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Ministry of Civil Aviation, Startup India, and all our partners to help us organize this entire event. In the context of time, I think I would like to quickly get onto the subject at hand. Sir, I would want to introduce Shri Ambar Dubey ji, and I would want to, sir, direct first question to you on what is the key challenges that are being faced and how are we looking at taking this forward. After that, I would want to take the opportunity to speak to Lieutenant General Girish Kumar and discuss about what is the scale of application that we are looking at on using drones and digitizing maps and creating other applications. Sanjeev sir is here. Welcome, sir. Ambar sir, please. You have a mic. Yeah, please, please.
Thanks so much, Smith, and ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to this second drone festival. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here. I just have a short speech. I'll try to address the query you had, and I'll not take more than 2 to 3 minutes. And also, since another, I think, half an hour, 45 minutes, we'll also have the Honorable Minister and the Secretary also coming, so I don't want to steal their thunder and say something which anyway they're supposed to say. Let me just begin by saying that India has all the potential to become the drone hub of the world. And I'll be very blunt and honest here because we missed the aerospace revolution, right? There are the Boeings and the Airbuses, and we all have deep respect for all of them. But on the aerospace side, even if you have to do some research or the infrastructure requirements, the financing requirements are so high that once we miss the bus, it's only catch-up time. But this is drones. This is our Narayan Murthy moment. And if you remember, everybody knows Narayan Murthy's story. I'm told he struggled for 2 years and 50 trips, 50. I think it was 10 or 15. He took 50 trips to Delhi. And because he couldn't afford a flight in those days, I'm talking about early 80s, 81, I think Infosys was set up. And I think it was started with a setup amount of 10,000 rupees because Sudha Murthy, his wife, pawned her jewelry and put that money up. 50 trips to Delhi, 2 years just to get one computer. Okay, and it used to be imported. So he would just go around North Block from this ministry to that ministry. People didn't understand. People asked him, why do you need this much of computing power or 64 MB? If we now talk about TB, at that time, questions were asked about the hard disk size and the processor speed, etc., etc. Why do you really need this? Because this has huge implications, national security, defense matters. Even on dollars, if you had to go to RBI every time, he had to even travel abroad to meet his clients. So that was 81. 40 years now could be, and we know the problems. I think Vipul already mentioned. We all know the problems. So today, I think we should focus more on solutions. We're going through the same phase. Yes, we still have challenges. Yes, we have a car one, and we do understand the challenges. There are lots of discussions happening at the ministry, at DGCA, with all the security agencies. And it's a constant policy struggle to, it's not a struggle, I would say. It's a nice challenge because we know the future is bright. The big wave is coming. The big wave could be 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years down the line, but the big wave is coming. And that's why we see so many young people and not so young people in this room all excited because we know we have the we can feel it in our bones. We have the capability to become the drone hub of the world, even if we miss the aerospace bus. So just keep the faith. As I said, I won't speak much because anyway the minister may come and make some announcements. The MOCA's doors are open. In fact, the many young people on the stage and off the stage whom I keep interacting with, it just makes me feel so young when I see their energy and excitement level. I'm also, by the way, not a typical IAS officer or a bureaucrat. I come from you. I used to sit on the other side. I'm from the industry, and I've been taken in. I'm one of those 8 chaps who've been taken in from the private sector into the government at policy-making levels. I'm there for 3 years, 3 months gone, 33 months to go. So it's your chance. Please come over. Our doors are open. I'm in room 253. Many of you have already been there. Come share your thoughts and solutions. and we'll fight it out. We'll work with you. And there are many regulators and security agencies also sitting here, listening to every word that we're going to be discussing here. They're all pro-India. They're all pro-India. They're pro-business. So please don't never misunderstand the security agencies. But let's face it, and we just saw what's happened by a major country, what they've done in a Middle Eastern country just a few days back. And lots of things are happening already. Usse pehle there was this refinery attack. So if we are safe, our families are safe, and we can sit here and enjoy 2 days of conversations and a nice cup of tea outside, okay, there is somebody working 24/7 to enable this, to make this happen and keep us safe. So as industry, our job is not to do what we call LBW, lamenting, berating, and whining against the government or the security agencies, but to work with them, because they're very nice people. I have the privilege of working with them very closely. They all understand that, yes, there is an economic side to it, but economic side, I mean, if there's no national security, I mean, what will the economy do anyway? So let's work with them, understand their concerns, because they are worried about our families also. So this government industry collaboration, I see a lot here. You will be surprised that some of the task forces have people as young as 28 or 30. I mean, it takes us half a century to actually get into the government. Or even as a consultant, I'm an ex-consultant. So even as a consultant, it took us years to get to that level where you're talking to a joint secretary or a secretary. And here you'll find many people sitting here, and I can see them smiling. Some of them are inside those closed doors where policy drafts are being prepared as we speak. Experiments are being done, which will go into the BVLOS version 2.0 and all that. And they're sitting in this room. Very, very young people, and we are so happy to have them there. They bring in the best of ideas, the best of best practices, which are happening in FAA and EASA and various other countries. And all that helps us take a very, very informed view so that, as I said, that balance between the commercial interests of India and the security interests of India are taken care of. And also we want us to be using the world as a market. Today, Infosys' market is more outside India than in India, or TCS or Wipro. So that's exactly what we want. All the designing, the maintenance, the software development, security softwares, all those protocols, we want them to be done here. India is famous for its brains. We may not have all the money or the infrastructure, but we do have brains. The Pichais and the Nadelas came from this very ancient land. And we have all it here. It's just a matter of just being a little crazy, a little weirdo, like many of you are, and I say that with deep respect. India needs weirdos. We have that opportunity now. Okay, I think I don't want to overstretch my speech. I think mostly I've covered. Rest we'll anyway over the next 2 days we'll chat. Yes, 2 specific things where we do need a lot of help from the industries on trackers, because if NPNT has caused some issues and we are trying to work around some of those challenges, NPNT anyway has to happen, but it has to be made more simpler and practical. So the tracker is the remote ID or trackers or whatever it is. We need a lot of discussion and debate. As government, of course, we cannot specify a particular technology or a particular vendor, because as government it has to be an open platform. So please help us develop those specs, which then ultimately there are 5, 10 or 20 trackers or tracker providers. Great, you just strap on the tracker or fix it on your drone and start flying. So we are working on liberalizing the whole NPNT protocol, but that protocol has to be there. It just has to be made more simpler and practical. Also in training, because right now only FTOs, the flying training organizations, are allowed to train. Later in the day, I have, where's Krishnendu? Can you just raise your hand? Yeah. So we have the director of IGRUA. IGRUA is our Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Udan Academy at Amethi. Amethi is being developed by the ministry as the aviation knowledge hub of the country. It is very famous for its political connotations, but whatever be the case, Amethi is being developed. We already have a flying school, one of our largest flying schools in the country. Most flying schools have about 20, 30 or 40 cadets. Krishnendu runs an institute which has 240 cadets as we speak. Okay, a beautiful flying school located midst greenery, because all these flying schools are in the faraway places. We have an aviation university where we are running a management program. We also want to start an AME school. The building is already done. We are scouting for partners because we believe in public-private partnership, wherein the government only sets up the infrastructure, and the knowledge, the content, the students, the providers, and the users of that asset are also from the industry. It is by industry, of industry, for the industry. So AME school, and very soon we are applying for a drone school. The specs are not still out, so we may go for an exemption and work with DGCA and some of the other agencies to start the first drone school out of IGRUA itself. The infrastructure is being ready. So Krishnendu, when you speak here, please do share those ideas. So I'll just stop here. It's been a very long speech. I just thought I'll take 2 to 3 minutes just to give you a profile, an overview of what is happening. We're working very closely with the industry as government and policy makers and with the security agencies. The future is bright. The big wave is coming. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. In the essence of time, I would like to ask Lieutenant General Girish Kumar, sir. Sir, I would want you to highlight a few key points on what are the challenges being faced currently and what is the opportunity about the application that Survey of India is doing with drones. And what are the potential solutions that you might suggest for that?
Very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to DFI for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to come and share the success story of use of drones in India. 2 years ago, we had one single drone with us, which was locked in cupboard because people were not aware how to use it. So when we took out and we started using it and we saw the results were amazing. Now only requirement was to put everything in the right perspective. So we talked to some of the states like Maharashtra, Haryana and Karnataka. They were the first beginners. In Maharashtra or most of the India, we have more than 6 lakh villages in India. And within the village, we have agricultural land and we have the Abadi area. Agricultural land was mapped 100 years ago. This was done by Survey of India till 1905 and then it was handed over to the states. But these Abadi areas, except few states like West Bengal, Odisha, maybe Assam, rest of the India, these Abadi areas were never mapped because the more focus was on agricultural land and the revenue was coming from there, right from Raja Todarmal era. And these Abadi areas were left unmapped. So as on today, the people living in those Abadi areas, they have no ownership, they cannot take loan, they cannot sell it, they cannot buy it. So we started talking to the state government and we did one pilot in Maharashtra, the Sonari village. We did mapping using drone. That time the drone was also not very advanced. So we gave back to the state government and we told them that you can carry out your measurements on the ground. So they used all their conventional method, whether it's a total station, whether it's GPS or chains, everything they did with all conventional methods. They undertook the measurements and verified that yes, everything is within the permissible limit what we said. We had said 5 centimeter as the positional accuracy, absolute accuracy, and the 5 centimeter GSD also, the ground sampling distance or resolution what you call. Now this was the highest resolution which so far any agency could achieve. And we established it, we proved it, and then we started taking off beyond that. So not only this, the best part was that people at the lowest level, generally a lot of programs have been initiated by the government, like National Land Record Modernization Program was launched in 2008, 5,400 crore. but officially closed in 2016. I'll not go into details. Then this NRMP was converted into DLRMP. Lot of states went for outsourcing, some using total stations, some using aerial platform, some using satellite imagery. But the problem was somehow not addressed properly because the people at the lowest grassroots level of the governance, they were not taken on board, and ultimately if he is not convinced, you try your best, the record will never be accepted. So here we told the state government that we will only do a limited part until this you as a partner, not as a agency who is outsourcing to us. If you don't work together, then these projects will fail. So involve your people at the lowest level, satisfy their requirement. And this was done. Now the lowest level is so excited that they want to take it to any level. Similarly, we did exercise in Haryana also. Initially we did in Karnal, and on 25th December, the Good Governance Day, which is being observed by the government, the Honorable CM announced that one village, Sirsi village, is Lal Dora Mukt. Again, the property cards were been issued after following the process. Now, why I am telling this success story? Because this has been possible only with the use of drone. The time taken is phenomenally less. At the same time, the results are outstanding, which so far by any other means we have not been able to achieve. Recently we did one pilot in Gujarat. 3 villages they asked us to do, one in remote area, one in Ahmedabad, one in other district. And the local government officials have already given in the media, and they said whatever we could do in 4 months, using this technology we have achieved in 50 minutes. It is available on YouTube, anybody can see that statement from the state government, not from me. We always tell them that we are there to support you. We are there to support your initiative. Because land is your subject and it's your domain. We can only help you in getting the correct measurements, satisfying the needs of the people, so that each and every citizen, because as a citizen of the India, we all are concerned with the land. Because some are owning the house, some are owning the land, and every inch of land is precious to each one of us. So the due importance was given, the correct measurements and the correct orientation and overall fitting into the big scheme. Similarly, we have done in Andaman. They have already sent an MOU to us. Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and now Uttarakhand is already going on. So what I am trying to say, that there is a big opportunity for drone industry to become a partner in the growth of the nation. I'll not call it only the profit making, but to become partners in the growth of the nation. Last revenue records were updated more than 50 years ago or 100 years ago. After that, the fragmentation which has been done has not been updated because of so many constraints. Not that people didn't want to do it, but they didn't have the technological solution. Because as on today, if we don't bring in technology, we don't simplify the process, we are not able to achieve anything. So now this technology has proved, like I'll give you an example, in Haryana, initially they didn't tow the procedure we told them. See, these villages have never been mapped. So they're all clean areas. people have got a house, and along with the house, he's got some open land also. And similarly, the next neighbor also has got some common land. So where is the partition? On boundary walls, we have the partition, but open land within the village, whether it's a panchayati land or it's a private land, nobody knows. So how do you resolve that? So we gave a suggestion to the Maharashtrian government also that you call the complete village and put some white markings on this, Kali, Chuna, whatever you may call, and then we fly drone and it will capture everything so that we have the evidence-based mapping. So it was very successful. The complete village was very happy. And now wherever our teams go, the first they are garlanded by the villagers. They are welcomed. Ki they have come to solve our problem. So initially in Haryana it was not done, but then we were facing problem because they wanted to take the process forward. So I suggested to Honorable CM. He said, no, it means we'll have to refly. I said, don't worry about that. We'll just take 20 minutes to complete one village. And we did that. And within 3 days, the result was also out. So that is the technology which you people are now providing and you people are spearheading it, which is going to become a game changer for the country also and for the industry also. Opportunities are ample. Now only problem which we are facing as a user is that the industry needs to stabilize first and some amount of maturity has to come in, which always comes with the time. Like Mr. Dubey also said that we see young people, so there's a lot of age difference sitting here itself, that average age is less than 30 and me talking 60 plus. But then time has come that slowly and slowly the maturity and the growth of the industry has to be seen. One major problem which we faced, now this is proven that this technology is here to stay, number one. Number two, there is no substitute to this. Number three, then how we start using it, and like he said that how we can scale it up. See, we are the National Mapping Agency, Survey of India. Now I will not talk about the Survey of India, but I am just telling as an example. Being a National Mapping Agency, we have the mandate to map each and every square inch of the country. So people sometimes they do ask, why do you need this high resolution maps? I said, don't ask me, ask the users. So I ask this senior officers from the state government whether he needs this accuracy or not. Accuracy is not my requirement. If you really see the National Land Record Modernization Program, page 131, where they have given the accuracy requirements, that for rural area it should be 20 centimeter and for urban area it should be 10 centimeter. Now it is my duty to work backwards and see which technology fits into best to achieve these targets. And there is no other technology. The flexibility which the drones are giving us is really fantastic. As soon as the weather is clear, I can fly for 2 hours and do my job for the day. But the same case is not applicable like we are flying LiDAR over the Ganga basin. But then because of this fog, for 2 months, the operations are closed. But if I had the drone, even if it is clear at 1 o'clock, start flying it, fly for 2 hours and continue with the job for throughout the year. Similarly, during the rainy season, other platforms, they don't work. But we wait, as soon as the rain stops, again start flying. So throughout the year, we have used it without any, except where it is very windy. Because in wind, still it has to stabilize. And otherwise, in high temperature also, 50 degrees, we have flown in Chittorgarh. Absolutely no issues. So technology is stabilizing, Now the problem what we are facing is that when we come out with any tender, there are many players and there are so many new startups and nobody wants to leave this opportunity which has come in the market. But it doesn't mean that you stall the process. There will be more opportunities. This is only a beginning. So when any government agency who is coming out with some requirement, respect that. Let the process be on. There may be 5 players, there may be 8 players, 2 may be left out, 2 more may be willing to come forward. So allow that process to complete. Because if the process is not complete, then nobody will grow. Neither the government activities will grow, nor industry will grow. So this is one of the serious challenge which we have faced in last 1 year, that we have not been able to conclude anything because everybody says, no, give us 3 more months. After 3 months, we'll come out with another tender, with another requirements. So many states are lined up and every state wants their activity to be done first. So how do we achieve that? Unless we work together to bring in a lot of drones. Now, similarly, not only the optical platform, there is a tremendous requirement of LiDAR on drone platform. For that also we did tender in 1 year, we have not been able to conclude. Now, how do you want us to help you as industry? If you don't allow us to conclude something, then both of us will be sitting like duck. Similarly, multispectral platform, you name anything, there is a requirement, people are excited, users are excited to use this data for their development activities. In most of the metro cities, if you take Chandni Chowk as Delhi, no satellite imagery is able to give you the clear roadmap. One of the agency came to us, they said, sir, we want a high resolution map of this area. They are into the business of developing applications for the road networking for your vehicles. I said, why you can always use satellite imagery? Then he showed me. He said, sir, we are not able to use it and our users, they are stuck because we don't know whether it is only for the scooters or cars can get inside this or not. This can only come from the drone image with such a high resolution imagery. Similarly, most of the developing countries are going into for the autonomous vehicle. How do you achieve that? Unless you have very high resolution maps. So there is a requirement which has already been established. Technology is already established. Now only thing is that industry has to stabilize itself, be mature and support the government initiatives. Like Mr. Dubey said, the policies will definitely slowly and slowly come out very clean, very supportive and very helpful. But to begin with, we have to be very, very cautious because of various incidents. Life of each and every citizen is equally important as the development. I'll only convey my sincere thanks to DFI for inviting me and my best wishes to the drone industry. As far as I am concerned, I have been a real supporter of this drone technology because this has brought revolution. I'm very happy that some of our citizens living in villages, they are getting the citizenship card, whatever may be the reason, but because of the drone mapping only, they could get it. And we are equally excited to map the rest of the country also with the same resolution and see to it that all other records, smart cities and everything, all the government initiatives are really given a good high resolution map. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. In the essence of time, I would request all other panelists to spare 1 minute of time. And I have a specific question for the rest 4 of the panelists. I would want you to highlight one specific challenge that you've been facing currently and propose a solution, a very specific targeted solution on what your opinion is should be the solution of that. I would want to start with Gaurav. Gaurav, if you can share. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Smith. So again, very quickly, what we do as a company is we provide solutions for the broadcast and film sector. To get straight into some of the issues I think that we've been facing, we've made two large decisions. We've been around for about 5 years now. We, all of us, Vipul, us, we all started together. Two of the major decisions that we've taken over the course of time has been to expand our offering from just drones to other remotely operated camera systems, and to be able to expand globally and not restrict our business to India. Now, while both these decisions are needed, where the issue lies is that the reason that we've had to make these shifts, while it should be driven by market factors like competition, it's actually more driven by a large chunk of tardiness in our regulatory framework, and like there's no, we are equally to blame as the industry, but I believe that in any business, preparedness is always profit, and in a business like ours especially, and in the drone industry, there are two ways that we can infuse better talent. It's by an induction of external money or by reinvesting some of the profit that all of us companies make into acquiring better talent. So if we work together, and like I think like Ambarji said, he's been around only for 3 months, and we've seen a lot of shift happen in the pace at which things progress. He's here for now 33 months, so we really together have the time and the ability from everyone sitting in this room today to be able to sit down, take decisions that are better for the industry, and just be able to position everything in a way that we are more prepared. Currently, for example, what happens for us, we do a large chunk of the cricket happening in India right now, and we have a bunch of clearances that we need for every game. Things like these are sports that happen at a particular time for a certain number of hours, and if you miss that slot, you've missed that slot. And not being able to be prepared in time for these sacrifices a lot of profit that we would have made otherwise, both logistically as well as many other factors. So if we design our systems in a way where the current workflow is permission intensive, there is a way to make it information intensive as opposed to permission intensive. That will allow better preparedness for all companies operating, and that profit then consequently can be invested into hiring better talent.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Shri Pradeep Singh Kharola, Secretary, Ministry of Civil Aviation. Sir has just joined us. Welcome, sir. Yeah, the next question I would want to redirect. Yeah. The next question I would want to redirect to Sanjeev, sir. Sir, if you could specifically talk about a challenge and an opportunity which we are looking at currently in our businesses and our offerings and our partnerships with different companies, and what could be a potential solution or an reinforcement to our vision.
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank DFI for that, and good to get in front of everyone. A lot of knowledgeable people out here, and a lot of knowledgeable people have spoken before me. Just a quick observation. I am in a unique position in the sense that I have marketed drones when this technology came into the picture. That was one portfolio which I used to look after in my older days. And today I am marketing solutions which get embedded into drones or are used as a complement to drones to give out a complete solution. So I can get a very bird's eye view of how the industry has changed from the days gone by. One thing I like to support what Girish Kumarji just mentioned. It's very, very important, and I'm speaking from the experience that I had from '98 onwards. marketing GNSS technology when GNSS, similar to drones, in those days was a banned product. It was a very difficult a product to import, at times. But what we found was the entire market changed the moment Serve India adopted that particular piece of technology in a bigger way. I think the first major procurement was 2004, and after that, there was a domino effect in the entire industry. States started believing in the solution. Before that, people used to ask me for case studies how GPS receivers can be used. So I've seen the market when the people used to ask whether how do we verify the accuracy, give us case studies, give us proof of concepts, etc. The moment Serve India adopted it, there was a domino effect, there was an exponential rise in the market, and the wonderful piece of information I'd like to share is, today people come out there and teach me about how to use GPS. So it's extremely gratifying, and I don't mind it, because it's been a very, very pleasurable journey to just see one inquiry in 6 months. So I can relate to your experiences. A lot of you who are marketing and manufacturing drones, etc., waiting for one inquiry in 6 months, etc., and everybody is trying to jump onto it. Be patient. Because once things get onto track, the entire industry is going to benefit. So as Sir mentioned, don't stop the process. Each and every one will benefit from it. Initiative taken by Serve India is going to percolate down to states, from state to districts, and to different government agencies. Nobody can stop this entire process because it's need-based. Second point I would like to make is, please try to understand, because you all sitting out here, you are the ambassadors for the drone industry. Please try to understand what accuracy means, what performance means, what is required for that. During my interaction with many people, and not everyone's like that, but there are many people out there who don't understand the meaning of accuracy and how it is achieved. Get that concept right. Look at the concept of not only low cost, but look at what is the cost during the lifetime of a solution. You have to deliver the right product to the user. Don't cut corners, because it ultimately goes and affects the performance down the road. You are the ambassadors. You are the ambassadors for the solution in the country. Look, I've changed my role in the company. Let me share this. I've modified my role to say, how am I going to support the Make in India effort that is being put on by all of you out here who are making drones, assembling drones in the country. And after that, after I did that, I really enjoyed working with a lot of the companies. Some of people who can see out here, who I know, and other people who I don't know and would like to sit down with. So keep an open mind, get the concepts right, because do not commit or overcommit something without understanding how it is, what has to be done to achieve that kind of an accuracy. There are a lot of misconceptions regarding GSD, etc. accuracy. People, by using non-differential modes, they are confirming accuracies which are extremely high. Get your concept right. Do not take shortcuts. Last point I would like to also highlight is, assuming there's a little bit time left. I know you're looking at me, but I like to take this opportunity. Or maybe I'll do that offline. So I think.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
We'll do it offline. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anup has been working in the agriculture space, and I would want to point a question to you. Anup, what is the key challenge that you are facing to grow your story from this one product that you have currently and taking it and scaling it all across India and making it useful in the entire Indian agricultural space? What is the one thing that you require which is going to reinforce you and many other businesses like you to spread your products and your services all across India? Yeah.
Thank you. So I'll start with a very positive note. My name is Anup Kumar Upadhyay, and I have relocated from US. I was working in Intel as an architect. I was having a very good life. Me, my wife, my daughter, and my son, we all relocated to India. because we realize that drone is a new technology that is the future. We have seen drone usage in agriculture in US and Europe. It's a huge, and believe me, drone industry in US is mostly owned by farmers, all the big hat people. Having said that, I don't think there is any challenge in drone industry, because we coming from outside, going through the complete cycle, conceptualization, doing the POC, going to DGCA for approval, going to Agriculture Ministry for approval, going to FTO for setting up a training institute. We have completed the whole circle, and everybody has cooperated us. Today, from this stage, I am very happy we are serving the nation. You all know there is a low-caste problem in the state of Rajasthan and Gujarat, and I'm very happy Agriculture Ministry has called us to use drone and help to solve the low-caste epidemic problem. So when people say there are a lot of bottlenecks, yes, it has to be there, because we are adapting to a new technology. We are changing from a conventional way of doing spraying or whatever, right? So there will be some questions, there will be some security concern. It's not that they don't want to encourage this industry, they want to encourage, but we have to get the answer. We have to satisfy with real figure and facts. And people are there to help. Many people are sitting here, I can identify, they have talked to us, they have resolved our problem. And so the product that we are focusing is mainly in the agriculture, spraying, broadcasting. There are many applications. And this is a disruptive technology that is really solving farmers' health issue and doing the precision agriculture, saving a lot of water. So we are very happy with the Indian government. Yes, there are some challenges, but that challenges we can sit across the table, discuss, satisfy them with figure and facts, and we can resolve. So one of the problems that we think we should be getting more traction, or we have to rather work hard, is drone is approved by DGCA, but the chemical that we are going to use needs to be also approved, so as to make sure that it does not impact the health or it does not destroy the crop. So there is a CIB, we are working with them. And another thing that we want is like the manufacturing sector needs to grow, the ecosystem needs to grow. And we as a manufacturer, we as an industry people have to come together, and I think DFI is really doing a very fantastic job. These guys are very energetic, and we have to enable them to continue such more conferences. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Anup. I would want Vipul to talk about a specific point and then conclude as well in the essence of time. Vipul, we talked about quite a few opportunities regarding Survey of India and the scale of operations that are happening, and Sanjeev sir mentioned about how GPS came in and Survey of India adopted it, and then the entire domino effect came in. Probably a sort of challenging question to you. Do you think Survey of India adopting drones and mapping the entire country as a threat or an opportunity for private players who have been doing this, for multiple customers at the local level and, some cases, some central level as well? Do you think this is a threat or an opportunity? That is the question.
Yeah, so that was a tough question. So see, whenever there is a new technology induced in the market, everyone tries to replicate it, right? No one understands that what will be the multiple dimensions which can come out from a source, which is the data coming from the drone, right? So the question comes is that if the market is this much, and there are so many people who want to really aim at that market, they become little non-conducive, right? They start challenging each other, pulling each other down. That's what we need to learn, that as an entrepreneur, as entrepreneurs, that we need to be collaborative. So I don't see Survey of India as a threat or as an opportunity. It's about the perception and the roadmap which we've developed together, right? It is as good as an opportunity, it is as good as a threat. So how opportunity, if let's say Survey of India today is doing countrywide mapping, I see that data has got enormous amount of users other than just land records, right? There are so many startups. I don't see a reason why every young startup is heading into making their own drone. That's not necessary. You can actually utilize the digital economy of India and then develop use cases, solutions which are driven by artificial intelligence and data analytics, which can extract information from those high resolution maps and can deliver n number of solutions which these stakeholders are needing. For example, if Sir is doing the mapping, Survey of India is doing the mapping of a village, I tell you a use case where we were involved. In a 60-day period, we could do around 250 villages by using a fleet of drones. And that data was used for basically utilizing or developing infrastructure of irrigation, which is also necessary, right? So these are some opportunities which people can tap into. I can talk a lot, but in the essence of time, I need to cut it down. So other thing is, we have to also understand that how in US, the first rocket was launched by NASA, but 90% of the current rockets are being launched by companies like SpaceX and Boeing, and NASA is only administrating. So maybe Survey of India can also carry a vision like that over 5 years, we just distribute the work, but control the quality and the procedure, right? Now, coming back to the challenges, I think the challenge is on the two sides. One side is that you cannot run 5G on a 2G phone. So this ecosystem needs to catch up with the speed of the entrepreneurs, whoever is the part of the ecosystem, either the regulatory body or the manufacturing policies or manufacturing infrastructure. They need to catch up with our speed. Otherwise, we are going to get behind. And the other challenge is from the industry side. I think a lot of people are getting excited, and since getting into drones is a very easy way, entering is very easy, but scaling up is not that easy. So people need to bring profoundness in their knowledge. Today I see that there are hundreds of startups, but only maybe 5 or 6 would be having a profound knowledge set. Others are just doing internet entrepreneurship, which is not going to help this country. It's just going to provide competition and then people dividing the same pie into multiple pieces. So those are my two suggestions, both to the government as well as the entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Vipul. Thank you, panelists. This was really wonderful interacting with all of you. Ambar Dubey sir, thank you for your time and thank you for your kind words. Girish Kumar sir, thank you for enlightening us on what Survey of India is doing. Vipul, Sanjeev sir, thank you on highlighting what the industry needs to do and how we need to focus on accuracy, quality and other products. Anup and Gaurav, I think you were focused on the technicalities and the operational collaborations that can happen with different departments. Really insightful for me and other people in the audience to know. I would want to thank everyone and invite Medhavi to continue with the session. Thank you so much.